the hell? Oh my gosh. You know what? It's wrong. That's the best I could do. Why the fuck does half of my face look so dry even though it's not? That don't make no sense to me. How can one's face look dry and moisturized at the same time? Just make sure I can hear myself. Damn. Just go. Hello? Okay, okay. I was about to say. Mm, make the screen bigger. Here's my belly ring. I was looking for that shit yesterday.
This is a very early Colt single action army. This is 1870s, and everyone wanted them. And they also had the World Series advertising campaign. Got paid, all that, and Colt made them all equal. Came down to the pawn shop today to sell my Colt revolver. I don't know much about Colt revolvers. Mine looks old, and I'm hoping it's worth a lot of money. If I'm able to sell the revolver today, I'll probably just take the family on vacation, maybe a cruise or something. The Colt single action army really was just incredibly revolutionary. This was the most high-tech thing around in the 1870s. Before this, it was, you've seen the old movies, them, packing the guns with gunpowder and bullets. This had cartridges. This was super accurate.
Why is this so far from me? Come back closer.
It was just a high quality gun, and this is incredible. So it was Federal Eagle here. You have the shield, lances. These were twice as much money as any other comparable gun. This is the dream gun of every Colt collector. If you have ever seen a Western, you've seen this gun. I want this thing, I want this thing, I want this thing. But I have to make sure everything checks out. So where did you get this thing? I'm a bail bond. And somebody put it up for collateral and never paid off the bond, so they surrendered it. This is an appraisal on it. I took it in for $25,000. That's what they owe. That's what I'd like to get. Okay. They're saying obvious factory reversal of the numbers. It's often the case with arms engraved and nickel. So you want 25,000 for this? Yeah. Do you mind if I have someone take a look at this thing? I mean, I just have a lot of questions on that. It's really weird that you have two serial numbers on the gun, but if everything checks out, maybe we can make a deal. Okay? Hang on 5 minutes, I'll get him down here, and we'll go from there. Okay. I'm a little excited and a little nervous to hear what the expert has to say. He might devalue it, then again, he might increase the value. What do we have here?
Fairbanks infallible coin scale.
This is cool.
It weighs coins to see if they're counterfeit or not.
I'm impressed. Because 99.9% of the people in this country would look at that and go, what kind of spatula is that?
I picked up the coin scale at an estate sale. It was used in the late 1800s. I'm going to ask $300 for the scale, and I will take as little as $200.
This is neat. Back in the day, we used to actually use this in the pawn shop.
Oh, really?
A little bit more modern.
Right.
These became popular right around the 1880s because the 1880s is what became commercially available. Gold-plated devices.
Ah.
Okay, so the counterfeiting of coins became a little bit easier.
Right.
So a bunch of companies came out with different things like this, and this solved those problems, and it was really, really quick. This is a perfect example right here. You put a old half dollar in here, it should weigh just about. Okay, and if you put one that's not the right amount of silver, see how it doesn't weigh.
Ah, very cool.
Like I said, it was a very convenient, quick way if you had your doubts on a coin.
Right.
Okay, so I'm assuming you want to sell it.
I do.
And how much would you like for it?
I would like $300 for it.
I deal in coins all the time. Ever since I was a little kid. I think it's really, really cool. So, I'll give you $200 for it.
How about $250? I really need it.
You should never fall in love with stuff, but I really do love this, and I will give you $225 for it.
All right.
Okay, cool. I'll meet you right around the corner. We'll do some paperwork. It's not a good idea to leave this stuff laying out.
Okay. I am settling on $225 today because I don't think I can get the scales to tip in my direction any further.
Yes. This is the original 1860 Abraham Lincoln life mask. It was taken by Leonard Bolt, very famous artist at the time.
This is a life mask, not a death mask.
This is a life mask.
You know what the difference between a life mask and a death mask?
Yeah. I don't know if it's done when you're dead. He's right. Coming in the pawn shop today to sell a Lincoln life mask by Leonard Bolt. I've had this life mask for, since about 1974. The life mask, to me, represents Abraham Lincoln the way he actually looked in 1860.
It's really neat because this is sort of a thing sort of lost to history. This used to be a really common thing to get a life mask if you were like a politician or maybe a well-off family or something like that.
What the fuck you needed a life mask for? What the hell was he doing?
And from that mask, he originally made
Oh, the statue. Never mind.
Yes.
Life masks are really cool because you also got some really
Every time they need a statue to get done,
artists might not
or
necessarily
somebody,
such as
they need to cast their face.
So this was a life mask taken from Lincoln in 1860.
Yes. It was right after he was elected.
This isn't an original of that life mask.
This is a gold casting. Yes. They were cast in 1860. I think 5 of them.
Did you get any paperwork when you bought this, or an auction catalog, or anything like that?
Nothing.
An original Lincoln cast made by Leonard Bolt is extremely collectible, and most of them are in museums. And you want to sell these?
Yes, I do.
And how'd you want this stuff?
$2,000.
Bothers me that you don't have any paperwork on it. I'm just gonna pass on it. Normally I'd love to buy it. I don't know enough about it, and we have no documentation or anything else like that. Thanks for bringing this stuff in. Appreciate it.
They decided that they didn't want to purchase it. We're going to take it back home.
How can I help you?
Like, sir, go to another pawn. Go to another pawn shop. Someone will buy. Or a museum. Shit. Put it up for auction.
Someone's out. Be careful.
There's other ways.
That'd be nice.
Let me see here.
Hi to whoever just joined the live.
Doesn't really fit me. But what better way to let them know how high class you are by not so tacky. Silver feet.
I came into the pawn shop today hoping to sell my fingernails. I realized that at least $2 and I think it's worth every penny of that. Plus, my boyfriend and I
To
were
tell me these are the only clips that I have. This is 12. 1, 2, 3.
It's from China, and I think
4.
that it's Manchurian era.
Yeah, it does go all the way back to there, and this is exactly what the women would have worn. Who were, high class, and they wanted everyone to know.
Yeah.
Silver, so yes, they wore these, so they didn't have to do manual labor.
9.
That was more service you had in the less manual. I don't even think this lady had to get her own glass of water.
Where the fuck?
Fingernail guards were worn to protect the long fingernails of the elite during the Qing dynasty. This is a pretty amazing
10.
artifact for the time period, and I definitely want to make a deal. Plus, maybe I can get some use out of it and convince Rick I shouldn't have to work. I wouldn't want to break it now. What are you trying to do with it?
I'd like to sell it.
How much are you looking to get for it?
I'd like to get $250.
Honestly, I don't know exactly how much they're worth. I know this is pretty nice. Go $100 on it?
No, I don't think I can go on $100 on that. That's, I mean, it's beautiful. Look at all the workmanship on it.
What the hell is that?
Would you go 200 on it?
Is that a hair clip?
Would you go 240 on it?
hopefully my boss will be proud of me.
Okay, good deal.
All right, let's go write it up.
Okay, great. I'm happy with the deal that I got for the antique fingernail guard. I started at
Fingernail
$250,
guard?
so I'm very happy with the $240 that we
Fingernail guard. That's a fingernail guard?
Really fancy gold.
What the fuck does a fingernail guard do?
So what is this piece of magic?
Well, at least that one. Shit pointy as hell. What is it supposed to guard?
I came into my shop with an absolutely beautiful 1876 Colt single action RV revolver. This gun has a lot of things going for it that would make it worth a lot of money. So I've asked Alex to come and check it out.
Yeah, I already watched this.
It's a pretty neat gun. My big fear with things like this is usually
Hmm.
lithographs. That is really cool. But the more expensive something becomes, the more often it's fake. It's not that I don't trust you, it's just that I don't trust you.
Right. I have a lie detector.
Does this thing work?
Actually, it does.
Am I getting old? No.
I have a bone record.
In the Soviet bloc where they weren't allowed to have Western music, this is how they sort of bootleg them. They'd find old x-rays and they would press the records onto that. Do you think this thing will play?
It might. I'll put it on here and play it. If I can show it, I don't know.
Family comes first, and money comes second. Depending on who you ask. But the best part, you never know what's going to come through that door. This is Pawn Stars. Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Are those what I think they are?
They are. Two original MC Escher lithographs.
That is deeply cool. I just love this stuff.
Hmm.
I mean, he's the only one who's ever done art like this. I mean, it's just this really screwed up, bizarro perspective. This was a guy who's going to be an architect. Then he became an artist and sort of incorporated the two and made this madness.
Yeah. I got these lithographs from the family of Escher's last printer. He didn't print his own lithographs. He had someone else do it because the process is so tedious.
I'm selling these Escher lithographs only because they're duplicates. If I make a deal today, I'll use the money to probably buy more Escher artwork in the future.
He's always been one of my favorite artists. Take artists throughout the centuries. There's maybe 25 of them where you can look at their work and say, that's him. You know, you got Van Gogh. You can look at Van Gogh and say, that's Van Gogh. Escher is one of those people. You look at an Escher and you know it's an Escher. Do you know the names of these?
Sam, this one's called Three Worlds because there's the world reflected in the water, so you see the trees. There's the world on the surface of the water, which are the leaves of the tree. And then the third world is the world underneath the water, which is the koi.
That is really cool.
This one's called Belvedere. It's an impossible building, and a number of Escher's impossible buildings are actually halfway possible, meaning if you look at just the bottom half of the print, it's perfectly logical, or the top half of the print, but it's the combination of the two that create the illusion.
Yeah, he makes this three-dimensional thing exist in two dimensions that could never exist in three dimensions. You know, I just love everything about the way he did this stuff. I've never actually had a legitimate Escher lithograph come in my shop, and they are in incredible shape, which really scares me, because if there's one thing I've learned in this business that's too good to be true, it usually is. So the big question is, how much you want for them?
So for the Three Worlds, I'm asking $17,500, and for the Belvedere, $18,000.
All right. So I guess you know a lot about these things, and the more expensive something becomes, the more often it's faked.
Mhm.
Let me have a friend come down and take a look at it. There's some questions I have. It's not that I don't trust you, it's just that I don't trust you.
Right.
I'm excited about this. So hold on.
All right. I think it's reasonable calling an expert because for a transaction with this much money, you want to
Didn't
know
that-
if it's real. If he agrees with my price range, then that makes my deal all that
Wait.
easier.
Hey, how's it going, man? How are you? What do we got here?
Why did that one portion just be playing so?
That I'd like to sell. Okay.
Oh
that's
no,
pretty
that was
cool.
the intro. Never
So where'd
mind.
you get it? This was my stepfather's. He just was very into Western themed things. Don't you love when people give you the stuff they don't want anymore? Exactly. Thinking that I'd want it. I came down to the pawn shop today to sell my replica stagecoach. It's an antique stagecoach from Wells Fargo. The person that put it together put a lot of detail into it. It's very precise. It's beyond a toy. It's a matter of whether it's an antique or not. Wells Fargo's got a real deep history. I know they had some banks, but with all this gold being mined out of California, there needed to be a way to get it to the West Coast. There wasn't a transcontinental railroad going back and forth. The only way to do it was this. They'd have two guys, one holding a shotgun. They would throw this thing across the country. Sometimes full of gold, sometimes it was filled with people's mail. I mean, you have a stagecoach. If you have room in it, why not make some more money if you're heading all the way back east? That's right. By the late 1860s, most stagecoach lines operated under the Wells Fargo name. And to this day, the stagecoach is part of the company's iconic logo. I know Wells Fargo produced all kinds of collectible merchandise over the years, but I can't tell if this miniature replica is one of theirs. Any idea how old it might be? You know, I don't. Just based off the materials used, probably in the 1980s, maybe early 90s. I can't imagine it was much older than that. Okay. What are you looking to get out of it? You know, it's pretty detailed. It's got some history. I'm thinking $400. $400. Okay. It's just such an interesting piece. It just says Old West. Mind if I have a buddy of mine come down and take a look at it? I'm curious, why would you have someone come down with this? I'm trying to figure out if it's something that was given to the banks or if people actually bought this stuff for their house. I'm kind of baffled by what exactly its purpose is. That's fair. I'll be right back. All right. I'm not exactly sure what kind of expert he could possibly bring in, but I mean, if that's what it takes, I'll trust an outside source. A guy came in with an antique replica of a Wells Fargo stagecoach. I don't know if this is an actual collectible made by the company or just a mass-produced imitation. So I called in Mark Hall Patton to come help me out. So, is this the model? That's it. Well, these are interesting. They're a
part of Western history, and what's interesting in this is that it's a Concord coach as opposed to what was called a mud wagon. They took their name from Concord, New Hampshire, and Wells Fargo, who later bought the Butterfield and the Overland Stage and all of that, ended up always using these Concord coaches. Wells Fargo got its start as an express company. The point about express companies is they filled in a gap in the West to allow for sending things that weren't able to be sent through the mails. So, what are your concerns about the model?
I'm kind of curious to know if it was like a toy that you would give a kid, if it was a display in a bank. I'm still trying to figure out what the purpose of it is.
Models of the Concorde coach have been made by a lot of different groups. But this was actually made for Wells Fargo. This has some value, but this isn't. This is not the one that Wells Fargo gave out because the name isn't correct on it. Normally it would have said Wells Fargo Express, Wells Fargo and Company, but not Wells Fargo and Company Overland Stage. They were decorator items. It would have been something that you bought, just to have on a shelf, just to go along with the theme in the house.
Well, Mark, I appreciate it, man.
Wells Fargo.
Thank you.
So you
Who the
mad?
hell?
A little disappointed. I just thought there was something a little more to it. So, do you still want to make an offer, or
I'll give you $50.
I'm like, who would?
175?
Nope.
Not even 100. I mean, it's got
It's
the
just
bag
the bank.
and everything.
Nope. $50 is what I can give.
All right,
$50.
$50.
All right.
Could be sentimental for someone.
Thanks. Wow, $50. It is what it is. Ask me if I'm disappointed to let go of something that's been in our family for that low price. Yes, but like I said, it is what it is.
Oh, I'm about to say, I know damn well.
I have a bone record.
What is a bone record?
It's an X-ray. It's like an X-ray record that they used for like band music back in the day.
It's definitely an X-ray of something. It looks like.
Looks like boobs.
It's not boobs.
Maybe I'm just seeing things.
Of course you would say that.
A bone record is like a final X-ray that they used to get band music on back in the 40s and 50s. I'm gonna try to sell it for 500. If I get the full 500, I am going to spend the money on recording an album for my band.
I'm just sort of like baffled by it. Where did you get this thing?
My grandpa. He gave it to me because I play music and I can't do anything with it.
So I'm assuming it's Russian?
Yes, it's from Russia. My family's actually from Russia, so
I've never heard the term bone record, but I remember hearing about how the bootleg records in Eastern Europe, they would press records on X-rays because up until the Berlin Wall came down, the Soviet Union at the time didn't like Western culture. They weren't allowed to have Western music. This is how they sort of bootlegged it. This was the Soviet Union. You did what they told you to do, and if you had any contraband, they sent you to the Gulag. You went to a work camp and worked there till you died. That was their system of government.
I feel like I'm in a gulag.
Not until the Berlin Wall came down in 1989 was Western music allowed in the Soviet Union. It was illegal to own any type of record-making device, recorder. It was even illegal to own a printing press or a Xerox machine. So it makes sense that they make music on an X-ray. It's kind of weird, but that's the materials they had, and that's all they could do. So have you ever played their album or record?
No, I've never played it. You have to have like a special record player to play it. And I don't
I don't
even
know
where
how
to get
that
one.
works, but
Okay,
all
so
right.
I'm assuming you want to sell it?
Yes.
Never mind.
And how much do you want to sell it for?
500?
That seems like a very arbitrary number.
Yes.
Do you mind if I call in my music guy? I'm just completely baffled with it.
No.
This is,
Go ahead.
I mean, for all I know, it could be worth $5 or it could be worth 5,000. So, give me a few minutes, okay?
We'll do. I think it's great that an expert comes in because I know nothing about it, so it'd be interesting to see what he has to say.
Escher. All right. These are great. Now, at first blush, they look in exceptional condition, considering they were published in the 50s. I mean, it looks like they could have been published yesterday.
So, are they real? A guy came in with a phonograph record. It was made on an X-ray. I've only heard about these things. I've never actually seen one. So I asked my buddy Jesse to bring his record player down to see if this thing actually plays. So this is it. Have you seen these things before?
I've heard of them. I've never actually messed with one before. It's made on an X-ray.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was probably Russian. Western music was illegal, so these guys with bootleg stuff, they made them on whatever material they had. So X-rays were probably pretty regularly available. Bone records are kind of collectible. You can get these guys that are obsessive about records and the history of it, and they're a neat thing to have in your collection that you could say, like, oh yeah, well you got that, well I've got one of these, kind of thing.
So, do you think this thing will play?
It might. I'll put it on here and play it, but it might like cut a spiral in it or destroy it. I don't know if it's gonna work or not.
Okay.
I don't know. Risk is on you guys, man.
It sounds like somebody's killing somebody.
Yeah, it does kind of.
I can understand why the Russians were always so angry.
It's probably 50 years old, so who knows what it sounded like when they first did it. It might have been pretty decent.
What are these things worth?
Stuff like this kind of falls. It's a copy. It's like saying, well, I got a cassette tape of the Beatles' White Album.
Russians are that angry because they're highly dominant. Hey, leave them alone. Shit.
$200-300 for them, but
They're born to be aggressive because that's what they grow up in. Everybody's aggressive over there. What the hell do you expect?
Well, thanks, man. No problem. Want to get an idea on it?
Yeah.
That's what they get taught, like literally.
Get you guys later. I think it's kind of a cool buy for Rick, just because it's something he's never seen before.
Not all of them are that angry though.
So it's kind of a rare thing. Nothing else, he gets it right. It's cool, just a conversation piece in the shop.
So I'll give you $30.
30? Jeez, he said 200, so I'd like to start there, if anything.
Well, no, he said he's seen people ask as much as that, but he's seen himself for like 80 or $100.
Right.
Like you said, it's an oddity. It's one of those weird things. I'll tell you what. I'll give you $50 and I won't give you a dime more.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right, sweet, dude.
That's good.
Good deal. I'll meet you right over there and I'll write you up. Or no, as a matter of fact, this guy will write you up.
All right, got it. If I would have got the 500, I would have recorded with my band, but since I'm getting 50, I'm just going to go buy an album at the store.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm great. I have what should be in every home in America.
A toaster oven.
Better than that, a lie detector.
Okay, I don't know if that should be in every home. I can get a lot of people in trouble.
I mean,
I picked the item up at a garage sale because it seemed unique.
listen, you really want to know if that motherfucking cheating? Go get you a lie detector test.
And it ranges from an angel to a devil based on whether or not you're
Somebody stole your money. You want to know if they really stole it or not?
how often I lie.
Lie detector test.
It is pretty cool. This is the Marlin Electric Company. It was made in 1950.
Yes.
It was basically just a toy to replicate a real lie detector because in 1950, police were starting to use these and kids wanted to be able to play with these. And this one is particularly cool because it starts off with an angel at 0, then it gets to 9 and 10 where she is no longer an angel and she's now a devil. So does this thing work?
Actually, it does. These electrodes will monitor heat sensors.
So, let's see. Am I getting old? No. Oh, it says I'm lying.
That's it.
So, what do you want to do with it?
I was looking to sell it.
All right, how much were you looking to get for it?
Well, I was hoping to get about $500.
I haven't seen them go anywhere near that.
Wow. What were your thoughts?
Honestly, I've seen these things sell for like $50. So, I'll give you
$50?
$50. You can come down, we can make a deal, but
$50.
otherwise, you have to pack it up and sell it another day.
Well, I cannot tell a lie. I'll take it.
All right, sounds like a deal. Go ahead and leave it here and meet me up here at the front counter.
All right.
We'll write it up.
Good one.
I wasn't completely surprised when he said that the price was $50. It really is based on whether you're interested in it or not.
my shop with not one, but two original Escher lithographs. They're in amazing condition, maybe a little too amazing. So I called Brett down to look at these things.
Escher, all right.
Prepare to bend your mind.
You know, he's the first artist that I just was obsessed with because he took concepts I was learning in school, physics, science, gravity, and he took those laws and he broke them. MC Escher's impossible constructions are just that. They're impossible to recreate in 3 dimensions. But he was
As you
able to do
should.
it in
That's
2
what you're
dimensions
supposed to do with
tricks
art.
and perspective that just were mind-bending.
Get creative, step out the
These are
box.
great. Now, what I'd
Don't
like to
stay
do is
in the
take a
box.
closer look. So what I'm looking for here is that dot matrix pattern you find on offset lithography. I see a lot of the stippling that would have been used, but I don't see any sort of a dot matrix or rosette pattern that you typically see on a 4-color offset lithograph. Now this one, I'm a little familiar with this one. Again, I'm seeing the stippling, I'm seeing the type of patterns you would see in a stone lithograph.
Okay. So, are they real?
It's real.
Okay. So they weren't printed yesterday?
They weren't printed yesterday. They just look like it. I mean, I've never seen prints of this vintage in quite such good condition. They're exceptional.
Okay,
That's
so
what
what do you
happens
think
when
these
you
are
take
worth?
good care
This
of
one, Belvedere,
things
I
like
love
that.
the image. And it could be argued that this one might even be a more marketable image. The one thing that I think really will detract from the value is the lack of a signature. I'd probably put a value on this one in maybe the $5,000 to $8,000 range, whereas this one I'd probably put in that 15 to 20 range.
Okay.
Well, I beg to differ because this is a print that another one from the same family went to auction for 5 figures.
Again, the concerns I have, we don't really have any proof.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Rick, hey, as always, it's great. A great meeting you. You've got some exceptional works here. Thanks, guys. MC Escher's work just continues to resonate, and I think every generation kind of picks up on it and its genius. I think it's timeless.
So, sounding like this one's sort of like out of the question.
Yeah, there's no. I mean,
Okay.
you can buy the top half of it for
Hmm.
$5.
Okay, so Belvedere's out of the question. And the 3 worlds. What's your best price?
I think 17.5 is a fair price for the 3 worlds. It's right in the middle of Brett's assessment.
You just have to look at my situation. I have to resell it. This is a business where I got to make money. I would go 12 grand on the 3 worlds.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't.
I mean, it's an incredible print. I think it will sell for right around 16, 17,000. But I'm not in the business of breaking even. Or I'll go 13. That's all I'm going to go.
If it had flaws, I would agree with you, but I can't go that low for something in this condition.
I really love them, but business is business. Change your mind? Come back and see me, man.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, man.
It would have been great to make a deal today, but at the same time, Escher is super famous. There's someone out there who we're not going to buy it to try to sell it. They're going to buy it because they love it and keep it for themselves. And that extra few $1,000s won't make a difference.
See, he gets it.
See that toy lie detector I bought? Yeah, I saw it. It's pretty cool, huh? Catch your ass lying.
Unlike the other
Well,
customers.
first off, they don't work.
Like, well, I'm gonna just take it home and let it sit on the shelf.
Beep. It was caught you lying right there.
What do you mean you don't lie?
I don't lie. I mean, generally, I'm a pretty honest guy, I think.
Okay. For example, if your wife asks you if her butt looks fat in a pair of jeans, what do you tell her?
Oh, she looks great.
What if it looks bad?
You tell her ass looks fat. What are you? What?
This conversation's over.
Hey, Rick. Does Corey look fat in those jeans?
Yeah.
But not like in a. Ugh, your ass looks fat. No, you gotta be like, damn, little mama, your shit look fat. Shit. Like. It's they simple.
on this episode of Pawn Stars.
Handwritten lyrics of America, also known as My Country, 'Tis of Thee.
And how much were you looking to get out of it?
10,000?
But is it legit?
We have a combat helmet from Operation Continue Hope. If you've seen Black Hawk Down, I was a soldier there. It was the bloodiest American battle since Vietnam. I have here my antique Space Explorer toy.
Cool. This is one of the holy grails. This is one of the big ones.
In my shop, family comes first and money comes second,
Depending on who you ask.
but the best part, you never know what's going to come through that door. This is Pawn Stars.
What do we have here?
I have handwritten lyrics of America, also known as My Country, 'Tis of Thee.
It's really cool. You know, it's sort of like our unofficial national anthem. It's not nearly as hard to sing. My country, 'tis the sweet land of your liberty.
Lovely I see. We can sing it together, but
I gotta remember the words without looking at them.
all right. The document of My Country, 'Tis of Thee is a piece of heritage in America. I want to sell it because I think it's a good way to make some money. I'm hoping to sell the document for $10,000.
This is really cool. Where did you get this?
It's a family heirloom. I got it after my mother had passed away.
Okay. Samuel Francis Smith was a really one of the cool things about him was he knew 15 different languages. He had traveled to every single country in Europe, which would be really weird at the time because during the early 1800s they kept on switching. I mean, in Spain one day, experienced the next. He ended up writing this song. He put it to a German hymn where the music came from, and it slowly but surely became our unofficial national anthem. It's really neat. I mean, they got a lot of significance. I know that he would write these out for people and sell them to them, and they go for decent money. But there's some serious damage on this thing. It looks like it was sitting in a house somewhere with a lot of sunlight hitting it. The sun has made it turn yellow. You know, this was on white paper at one time, and it really concerns me, this ink being this black. Usually it's a reddish tinge after it's this old, and
It could be a print.
it could be.
Right.
And how much were you looking to get out of it?
10,000?
Let me have someone take a look at it,
Okay.
and if everything checks out, we'll go from there. Hang on a few minutes.
Okay.
I'll give someone a call.
Okay.
Hey, what have we got here?
It's an old barber set from the 1800s.
This is really cool. Barbers were a bizarro profession. Most people think today as a barber, you go down there, you get a shave, maybe get a haircut. Back then, that really wasn't their main job. They were called barber surgeons, and their main job was to do surgery, cutting off fingers. You mangled the finger and it got gangrene. And also, if you were middle class or something like that, it was a must to go to the barber every 6 months to get a good proper bleeding.
Right. I'm here at the shop today to sell my 1800s traveling barber set. My ex-grandmother-in-law gave it to me about 25 years ago. It's been in a box in my garage, and I think somebody else should be able to enjoy it. I think the barber set is worth close to $2,000.
This thing is definitely cool. And these things usually have all sorts of weird little hidden compartments on them.
Yes, they do.
And these are probably some straight razors and other things like that?
There are no tools, unfortunately.
Okay. All right. We're running into problems already. It's not a barber's kit. This is a vanity kit. Okay?
Okay.
If it was barber's tools, you would have scalpels. You would have bleeding devices. Okay? It's not a barber set. It's a vanity set. This was completely common. Okay? When you, in the mid to 1800s, okay?
So,
If you were upper middle class or better and you went traveling somewhere, it was a multi-month vacation. You had to bring everything with you. Okay, so this was your whole vanity kit for your bathroom. Because remember, if you're on the road a lot, you're not bathing a lot. There's a lot of clones and things that would be nice to have. So, how much did you want for it?
$2,000.
Okay. If this was a barber's kit, I would pay that in a minute, but it's not. There's a lot of stuff missing out of this. You got the basics here, but Right. It's not the most elaborate one I've ever seen. I'd give you like $300 for it.
Can you do 5?
No. I'll tell you what, I'll give you $325. My problem is it's not all here.
$350.
$325. I get to deal with it. You don't have to deal with it.
$325.
All right, thanks, man. Let's go do some paperwork. Just leave this here. I'll have my guys grab it.
Okay, great. $325 was kind of gut-wrenching, and then I realized it's just going to sit in the box in my garage if I don't let someone else enjoy it.
Plus, you don't have all the parts, so you might as well.
A woman came in with what she says is handwritten lyrics by Samuel Francis Smith of My Country 'Tis of Thee. She's asking $10,000. I'm not sure if it's an original or a print, so I called in Steve Grad. Take a look at this thing. Here we go.
Oh, so it's large format.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't need your glasses.
Well, typically the ones that I've seen, they're really small because he just didn't have a lot of room to write. He'd use a little piece of paper, and people would write away to him, and he'd send it back to him. Well, the first thing I want to do, I do want to take a look at the signature itself. This guy had a really nice autograph, very neat, very legible, and we see kind of the same type of formations. S.F. Smith. We're looking at literally the same thing.
Okay. But is it legit?
The good thing is the signature matches up with mine.
Okay.
On the other hand, you take a look right here under magnification. See some odd skipping. That's something that's not really totally consistent with handwriting, okay? Because if you're writing and crossing over, and we have it right here on a T, if you're crossing over, usually the pen's not going to skip like that. You're going to have a straight flow through. And this is the most important thing. If you're writing in a pad or writing in quill, fountain pen, whatever you're using, the ink will start to run out. Maybe if you started here, by the time you reach here, that ink's going to start to run dry. It's not original. Everything else, including the signature too, it's just all reproduced.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, better luck next time. I'm sorry.
Can you hear my heart breaking?
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks, man.
Yeah, good to see you. Sorry. Yep,
Thank
good luck.
you.
Yep, you bet. No, unfortunately, it's something that was kind of manufactured in mass. Really, realistically, doesn't have a lot of value.
Well, sorry. That's, I'm obviously not interested in it.
I could give it to you.
I don't want it. It was a neat conversation, though, and thanks for bringing it in.
Certainly, thank you.
No problem.
I'm very disappointed and wish it could have turned out differently. I guess you get yourself in a mental state of mind where you're excited about something being authentic and worth something, and then you find out you almost can't buy a cup of coffee with what it's worth.
What do we have here?
I have here my antique Space Explorer toy.
Cool. This is a Mark's 10 toy. Slowly through the years, there's been like this massive collector community for things like this, especially when one of these things in great shape. This is something little boys played with, and you know how little boys are. We destroy everything.
That's right. I still do sometimes. It's an
The
awesome
grown
piece.
ones
I
who
love
act
the
like
look of
little
it.
children
It
do
runs,
as well.
It does everything the toy's supposed to do. I'm hoping for $3,000 today. The antique toy is worth so much because of its rarity. I cannot find anything on this piece, and I have tried to look everywhere.
This is pretty damn cool. Do you know much about the Mark's Toy Company?
Not too much, no.
They were literally like the biggest toy company in the world. They've been around since the 1920s. They were like the first guys to go like Japan and Hong Kong and start making like the stamped out metal toys. This was like the early Japanese stuff right after World War II.
Right.
If you look at pictures of Japan right after World War II, just about everything was bombed out. And they were looking for, being able to manufacture things with what they had left. And inexpensive toys made out of sheet metal was their thing. After World War II, one of the things the Japanese manufacturing base made was inexpensive metal toys. And quite frankly, the quality was pretty bad. So they didn't last long. So it's absolutely amazing to see one in this kind of shape. So how much you want for it?
Well, I looked all over the place for this, and I found in an old toy magazine where it was listed for $5,500. Now, that's with the box, of course, but I figured $3,000 would be a good price to ask for.
Okay. This is one of the holy grails. This is one of the big ones. And this looks like it's beat up a little bit, but this is in incredible shape. I would really like my friend to come down and take a look at it. Give me a better idea of a price.
Okay.
All right. So hang on a few minutes. I'm going to give him a call, see if I can get him down here.
Okay.
All right.
Great.
What's this, the Liberty Bell?
It's the old El Rancho Hotel and Casino sign bell.
How much you want for it?
I'd like to get $40,000 for it.
Oh, okay. Earlier, a guy came in with a 1950s Japanese 10 toy. When it's a really expensive toy like this, usually I have Johnny come down to help me out with the price, but I can't get a hold of him. So I'm going to have to figure this one out on my own. So my buddy's not around. Oh, but I think I know enough about this thing. When you saw a price for $5,500, that is with the box.
Right.
Okay? And I'm just telling you that's 100 times more rare, especially for a toy like this. I'll give you $1,000 for it. You know, and when it comes to toys, it comes to anything like this, condition is everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's in incredible shape. I'll give you that, but it's definitely not perfect.
Right. $1,750?
No. I'll give you $1,200. I have to resell this thing. Okay.
Right.
They are very collectible, but maybe 1 out of 20,000 people collect old cheap metal toys,
Right.
and then you got to find someone willing to pull that kind of money out of their pocket.
Would you do $1,300?
Let me do $1,250.
Sure. All right.
All right, thanks, man. I'll meet you right over there, and we'll do some paperwork.
Okay. Thanks.
I think I knew enough about this toy to make a good deal. Like I always say, a little bit of knowledge can be a really dangerous thing. So I'm going to bring it down to Johnny just to ease my mind. What is this?
Well, this is a historical piece of old Las Vegas history.
What's this, the Liberty Bell?
It's the
I
old El
have
Rancho Hotel and Casino
bushes.
sign
I
bell.
have bushes.
Okay. Where did you get this?
I got this at an antique shop here in Las Vegas.
Okay.
Does it ring like a bell?
No.
I'm coming into the pawn shop today to sell this historical piece of old Las Vegas history, the El Rancho Hotel Casino sign bell. What I love about this bell is it has historical Las Vegas history, and I lived here at the time of the El Rancho Hotel, and it's just a nice bell. So let's ring it up.
This right here is really, really interesting. It's one of the most confusing names on the strip because originally in 1941, the first hotel casino resort that opened on the strip was the El Rancho Vegas. I mean, it was a really small place, but it was the first one on the strip. And it was really Western themed. All the casinos on the strip were Western themed until we had the Flamingo. But it was 1959 or 1960, it ended up burning down. Right across the street from the El Rancho Vegas, in 1947, they opened up the Thunderbird. And they remodeled the whole thing and they made it the El Rancho Hotel and Casino. They tried to grab that former glory of the El Rancho Vegas. They couldn't call it the El Rancho Vegas, but they could call it the El Rancho. Everything from that casino is like mega collectible because the place burned to the ground. Hey, what did you want to do with it?
I like to sell it.
How much you want for it?
I'd like to get $40,000 for it.
Oh, okay. You can always start somewhere, right? Your problem is it's from the El Rancho Casino, not the El Rancho Vegas. When it comes to like casinos here in Vegas, it's El Rancho Vegas, it's the Dunes, Caesar's Palace stuff, you know, the Tropicana, the Flamingo. That's the kind of stuff that guys will collect.
Well, I had an expert look at it, and he said if he was to sell it at his art gallery, he would sell it at $50,000.
I would take it right to him. I don't mean to be mean. Special about this. It was the most humdrum block casino on the Strip that no one remembers. It made no impact on this city. If it was from the El Rancho Vegas, I would think it was one of the coolest things in the world. I want to keep it. And I know 50 guys that would want to buy it.
So 40,000 is out of the question?
Yeah, nothing. I mean, it's not even real metal. It's sheet metal.
Right.
It's neat. Thanks for bringing it in and everything, but it is not for me. It is just, I don't think I could ever sell it. Okay. Thanks for coming in, though.
Okay, no problem. Okay, thank you. Okay, bye.
What do we got here?
That shit his ass gonna listen next
combat
time.
helmet from Operation Continue Hope. If you've seen Black Hawk Down, I was a soldier there. It still has some sand in it from Somalia, so if you tip it over, just be careful.
Oh, wow, that's really cool. So,
Yeah, it's from 1993. This is actually an older one. I think they have a new helmets now, the United Nations.
I hope, because it looks like it get hot in Africa.
Oh, it looks like a bullet will go through it, too.
I was a soldier in Somalia when I was in the army. While I was there, I had a chance to make friends with some Swedish soldiers, and I traded some army gear for the helmet and kept it ever since. And 400 is about the lowest I go.
This is interesting. Tell me everything you can about it. I was an M60 gunner for my company, and I had a chance to.
She knows. She knows. No, she knows. No, she knows. I'm gonna. Oh,
On this episode of Pawn Stars.
I have 4 quartets by T.S. Eliot.
That's cool. Is it a first edition or something? Or?
I think it's the true first edition.
This is Corey Hanzo's sword, signed by David Carradine, who played Bill in Kill Bill.
Sweet.
He was a, B-movie guy. He did over 100 movies. But, people still are really into this guy. We have a 1920s radium crock.
Okay.
They would put radium in this with water.
Some of these things, I don't see how you didn't die from the first drink. At my shop, family comes first, and money comes second. Depending on who you ask. But the best part, you never know what's going to come through that door. This is Pawn Stars. Hey, how come?
I have a special volume of poetry in this book, 4 quartets by T.S. Eliot.
That's cool. Is it a first edition or something?
Well, it's more than a first edition. I think it's the true first edition.
Okay.
He was the master poet of the first half of the 20th century.
He was the what poet?
A master poet.
Okay, I thought you said a different word. All right.
I hope not. I bought this book in a local thrift store. This book is special to me because T.S. Eliot was one of the most renowned poets of the 20th century. I'd like to sell the book because I think it needs to be in the hands of someone who really appreciates it.
You just said
This is really neat. When he was alive, he was considered the greatest American poet. Some people consider him like the greatest American poet we ever had. I know that he had like a really eclectic.
you appreciate it.
education. He went to Harvard. He went to Europe. He studied Sanskrit.
What you selling it for?
It's really, really embarrassing. I've never read T.S. Eliot. T.S. Eliot considered Four Quartets his best work and his masterpiece. In the 1940s, he
It's
won the
giving. I
Nobel
want it
Prize
off
for
my
literature.
shelf because it'll bring me some money.
So what makes it a true first edition?
There's nothing wrong with that. But don't act like you appreciated it.
There
And
are only about 700 or 800 of those printed. As I understand it, Eliot didn't like the looks of the book or the typeset or something, and they just stopped distributing
and of course my
them.
nose is running.
There's
How
only that many
nice.
that were ever issued with First American Edition written.
Okay.
Now is not the time for that.
So how much do
I'm
you want
fucking
for it?
finished curling my shit.
$3,000.
Okay, I have no idea if that's a good price or not. And the condition of the dust cover really worries me. But I do have a friend who will know everything about this.
Great.
And who's probably read everything T.S. Eliot has ever done 5 times. So I'm going to give her a call, get her down here, and she'll help us out with it.
I can't wait.
Okay. I'll be right back.
Hey guys,
Hey, what's up?
got a 1965 Battle of the Bulge board game.
All right. I know a little bit about it. It came out in the 60s, and it was all about the Battle of the Bulge in World War II. The bizarre thing about this game is
that you're having your own Battle of the Bulge, folks?
I know that Battle of the Bulge is World War II, and I know it was in one of the mountains in Europe. I got it at a garage sale. It's a popular war battle, so I thought maybe it carries some value being from the 1960s. So hopefully I can go home with some cash in my pocket.
Chop, do you know about the Battle of the Bulge?
I think it was like December 16, 1944. I know it was like a pretty big battle on the Western Front.
Yeah. Every once in a while you shock me, Chop. No, but this was the biggest battle on the Western Front of World War II. The Germans knew this was going to be the last dance, so they threw everything at it. Like 250,000 men. Battle of Bulge is an insane, brutal battle during World War II. It's a little odd that they made a board game about it, but hey, it was the 60s. There wasn't a lot to do, and there was a lot of war movies coming out. How much do you want for this thing?
I don't know. I think it's worth $275.
It sounds a little pricey because it's not in the world's greatest condition.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. The board is ripped in half. Do you mind if I have someone look at it?
No,
Absolutely. That would be great. I'd love to know. I just don't know enough about this particular one. Hang on a little bit. Be right back.
Okay, cool. That's great.
Hold that thought. I'm a cool right Anyway,
A guy came in with a Battle of the Bulge board game from the 1960s. It's a cool combination of military history and pop culture, but it's not in the best of condition. So, like always on stuff like this, I called in my buddy Johnny. This is the Battle of the Bulge, the board game.
Classic. This is one of the earlier war strategy games. I mean, it was pretty popular at the time when the movie came out around the same year. You could imagine, I mean, in parts of the country where you're snowed in and you can't play outside, this is what you would have been doing, you know?
Okay.
You mind if I take a closer look just to see if we have everything here? To determine the value of this is going to mean how complete it is. And of course, condition, completely in half. Well, it's still usable. That's the good thing. You know, it's not warped, and you can see everything you need to see there.
It looks complicated.
It's actually not. This is actually one of the more simple war strategy games that came out. The whole concept of the game is it's two-player. One opponent's the Germans, and the Allies are trying to hold the lines. And at the end of so many rounds, if the lines are penetrated, then the Germans win. And then if you can hold the lines, your infantry comes and saves the day, and the Allies win. But we got everything here. That's the important part.
So, what's it worth?
This isn't something that a collector would buy because of the condition, but the fact that it's complete, you got a lot of people that would buy it just to play it. Since the collector isn't buying it, it'll increase your shelf life a little longer. For somebody who just wants to play a fun game, I could see you easily getting 40 to 50 bucks for this.
So 40 or 50 bucks, and it's going to sit around for a couple years.
Possibly.
Thanks, man.
Take care.
Good one.
See you later. If the game was sealed and untouched, you could see the value maybe 100, 150 bucks tops. But the great thing is everything's there, so there's still a lot of people that would buy this game just to play it.
All right. It's not worth my time if that's all it's worth. It's going to sit around for years. Maybe you'll have something you can sell on the internet, something like that. But thanks for stopping by, man.
Appreciate it. I believe I will take it home and let my grandkids play it, and we'll teach them about the Battle of the Bulge.
I get it. There's only room for one bulge in this pawn shop.
If there's a Battle of the Bulge, Chum, I'm winning. Hey, what do we got here?
We have a 1920s radium crock.
Okay.
Back in the 1920s, they would put radium in this with water, and it has a little centrifuge. It would spin around. You turn this and turn it on.
And then you just made yourself a delicious radium cocktail.
I got the crock from a friend of mine. It's a really interesting piece that I'm hoping to be able to sell it.
you know you're scratching your jacket, right?
It was thought to cure cancer, high blood pressure, and even thought to increase the sex libido.
It's alright.
This is really interesting. Radium with these alpha particles, which are really, really super dangerous, but it's hard for them to penetrate things. They're not like X-rays. So some of these things, probably no radium ever got in the water because it got absorbed by the metal. And then there was other ones where you could buy packets of radium and just pour it in the water, which was just like, oh my God, I don't see how you didn't die from the first drink.
Right.
But by the 1930s, 40s, and 50s, they began to realize this radioactive stuff is really, really dangerous. People have been coming up with these quack medicine things ever since they invented money. But finally, in 1938, the federal government came along and said, enough is enough. If you're going to make a medical claim, it's got to be real, and they outlawed things like this. How much you want for it?
$900.
Okay. I'll go 400.
How about a 450?
I will go 4 1/4. It's a limited market. It's going to sit for a while.
All right, sold.
Sweet.
Awesome.
The nerdist in me just loves this thing. Okay, let's go do some paper.
All right.
She says it's a first edition, first state.
I recognize it immediately.
So what's it worth?
A copy of this that's restored, I would say
Earlier, a woman came in my shop, big first edition T.S. Eliot for 4/10. But there's damage, and I know right off the bat that's going to affect the value. So I called up Rebecca, and I know she's going to completely nerd out on this thing. I figured you would absolutely love this.
You were right.
She says it's a first edition first state.
I recognized it immediately. It actually has 4 different sections, and they were released individually in the 30s. And then this came out in America during the war. Because it's a wartime publication, there are some issues with it. A lot of people who were specialists in different jobs, they were out on the front, and they had people working in jobs that they weren't as familiar with. So you see a lot of problems that show a little bit of amateurism, and you see that here, these margins, it's not right. So there's faulty printing of this, and in fact, because of the faulty printing, they actually pulled the run. However, they had to keep a certain amount of copies out in circulation to preserve the copyright.
Okay.
So they kept 788 copies. This is one of those copies.
So what's it worth?
If you were going to make this sellable, you would probably need to restore the dust jacket. You're looking at an investment of $300 to $600 just to restore the dust jacket. So with that in mind, a copy of this that's restored, I would say you're looking at $2,250 to $2,500.
Thank you.
Welcome. Eliot is very well respected. He changed poetry. If the shop can negotiate a deal, then I think it's a good buy. Eliot is always going to be important.
It really is a kind of one of a kind, even with its flaws.
I know that. Okay. But you also have to realize, if I buy the book off you, I have to spend the money to get these repaired. The best I can give you is $1,000 for it. Condition is very, very important.
How about $1,500?
I'll tell you what, I'll do $1,100 because any other price makes no economic sense to me. None.
All right, $1,100.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Thank you.
Come on over here and we'll write this up.
I bought this book at a thrift store for 75 cents, and I just sold it for $1,100. So it's a very good day for me.
Hey, how's it going? Good. How you doing? What do we got? This is a Tori Hanzo sword signed by David Carradine, who played Bill in the movie Kill Bill. Sweet. Love the movie. David Carradine played the head of a group of assassins. They all had really weird names. Black Mamba.
Is it real
The
though?
whole snake thing was just kind of silly. Yeah. These swords were signed by David Carradine probably about 10 or 11 years ago. I used to collect swords, but now they're just collecting dust. I'm looking to get about 2,200. I want to sell these swords because I'm hoping some collector who loves the movies, who loves Kill Bill, can properly display them in some beautiful place. Kill Bill. Couldn't have came at a better time for David Carradine. The guy was pretty much broke. Quentin Tarantino just happened to be a kung fu fan and pretty much offered him a role. He didn't really get paid all that much for it, but it kind of brought him back into the limelight where people were actually paying him to sign swords and do signings again. Yeah. Kill Bill was originally just supposed to be one film, but by the time Tarantino was done, the movie was 4 hours, so the studio released it in 2 different parts. That ended up being a really good decision because both films killed it at the box office. So, our replicas, yeah. This one is the Demon Sword, which is Bill's sword, and this one is the Bride's Rampage sword. Okay. Want to take a look at it now? Go ahead. Okay, the swords aren't really much, man. They're made in China. The blade's made to look like it's tempered. It's not really tempered. No, I agree. What are you looking to do with them? I'm selling. Okay. Any idea of how much you want for them? 2,200. Okay, that's quite a bit of money. I can tell
Big
you
reach.
that before he died, these were going for about $80 a piece. So
I'll tell you what. Let me have a buddy of mine from PSA come down and knows the autograph world better than anybody, and he can tell me if since he's died, if they've gone up that much or what the deal is. All right.
All right.
Be right back.
That's good. I think it's great that an expert's being called in because I'll get the signatures authenticated and I might learn some more things about this piece.
A guy came in with 2 replica Hattori Hanzo swords signed by David Carradine. They're really collectible, but the guy's asking for a lot of money. So I called in Steve to ask him how much they're really worth.
Well, I got some signed David Carradine swords.
Oh, cool. When you talk about like the 70s cult classic type actors, he was a B-movie guy. He did over 100 movies. Ended up being pretty popular. I mean, he had the whole kung fu thing. And then once Kill Bill came out, his popularity went insane for a few years, and then he ends up dying in a strange way.
Yeah.
But people still are really into this guy. David Carradine carries a little weight within the autograph community. I mean, he kind of went through a period where no one really cared about him, and then he went through a big explosion where he got popular again after Kill Bill. He was really fan-friendly, so there's still plenty of it out there in the marketplace. What are your concerns, Corey?
I've had the David Carradine signed Hattori Hanzo replicas. Before he died, they were going for like $80. I don't know what they're worth now.
Well, yeah, that's usually the thing. When somebody passes away, their signature ends up going up in value. I just want to do a few things. Want to just take a look at the signatures, make sure they're live. All right, that's the first one. Second one, same kind of exact pattern on there. Definite live. There's no doubt about that. Looks like a Sharpie. The next thing I want to do is just take a look at a couple examples of his signature. The guy was pretty sloppy when he signed it, so very simple. You can see here an authentic example. I see this big D here, and I'm starting with that. You get the heavy lean. He curls in on both of these C's, and it's just kind of sloppy. So, live ink, no problem with that. Signatures match perfectly. Definitely authentic, no doubt about that.
Okay. So, what do you think they're worth?
Well, are these rare? No. Are they cool? Absolutely. I put the value as a pair of these right about $600.
It's better than what it was.
Yeah, sure. Good to see you there. Thank you. Yep, good luck. Thanks. The thing with the swords is I would classify them as manufactured memorabilia. They're really neat looking pieces, and they look like the ones they use in the movie, but it's just kind of a manufactured piece, and he sat down and signed them in a production line, so they're really not that rare. They're just kind of cool.
It's a pretty big jump to 2,200, man.
Yeah, sure.
What are you willing to take?
It's unfortunate. I didn't really expect them to be worth so little.
I would give you like $200 for them.
Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking like 1,200 would be like my bottom.
1,200. We're not gonna be able to make a deal, man. I appreciate you.
I appreciate it. Thanks. There we go. $200. That's just way too low. I mean, I understand where they're coming from, but in my opinion, these are worth much, much more.
You guys, check out what I just made.
What's that, Sean?
I'm inspired since we got the Battle of the Bulge game.
Making a board game now?
Yeah. It's called Chum Life.
There's nothing on it, chum.
I was hoping you guys would kind of help me, fill the squares out and get the idea of the game a little bit.
What about takes boss's truck to get lunch and wrecks it? So go back 3 spaces.
I got one. Land on this one, you become vice president of pawn counter space number 2.
Or taking a nap at lunch oversleeps, lose a turn.
You know what, Rick? Remember that app you did? I hope it's doing well because I supported you since day one.
That's nothing about
I would hope you would do the same for me. Thanks for the support.
It's a game of manipulation.
It is a game of manipulation because you know what? He's sitting at work making a board game and not working. So Chum wins.
There you go. Chum Life.
our sauce to be inside of a freezer this whole time and become frozen? This I need this to sit in some hot water. Oh man. We have a mole? What the fuck? Don't fucking warm that shit up. Don't play with me. Over here, when you warming up half of the damn tray. What kind of bullshit is that? Come on, yo. Come. Here. Lunchtime. It's not gonna make your child stop talking back to you. He'll learn that. Y'all keep on putting all this trauma on y'all children, and when they get older, y'all be wondering, oh, why they don't take care of me? Why my kid don't call me? Because you put tons of trauma on them. If you had tons of trauma put on you and you knew the information that you knew today, would you want to take care of that person? No. But of course, people don't care about that. There better be some soup in here. Shoot. They always be stingy with the soup. Oh, where's my water bottle? People's problem. I don't know how to communicate properly. Why not teach yourself how to communicate properly so you don't put trauma on your damn children? How about that? How about those apples? How about that? How about that apple pie? Shit. Damn, I forgot to fill that up. At least I got some water. Your child talking back to you, or let alone talking any kind of way towards you, where you think they get it from? Don't you think about that? Give me my chopstick. Where is it? Okay. Ooh, this about to be so good. Oh. Oh. Hey, move from over here. I got 2 irons on. Okay? Stay like just don't come over here. You know what? I'm gonna just turn this way. I don't want you getting burned.
this episode of Pawn Stars.
It's a doctor's blood sugar test kit from the 40s.
It's like in perfect condition.
Two different kinds of cyanide in those bottles, so
Okay, all right. So we don't want to test that.
It's an aquatic etching by John Rowe. 12,000 is what I'll let you get for it.
It is cool, but he's one of the most faked artists around for this period of time.
7 barrels in one gun. It's a shotgun on a lot of drugs.
I'm feeling comfortable that we can actually shoot this thing.
I definitely want to shoot it. Good luck, chum. Hope you like your figures. At my shop, family comes first.
Please don't tell me this thing burned.
Depending on who you ask.
Of course.
But the best part, you never know what's going to come through that door.
Woo.
This is Pawn Stars. All right, what do we have here?
what I have here is a doctor's blood sugar test kit from the 40s. It was made by the Lamont Company.
It's like in perfect condition. Whatever chemicals were in here.
There are two different kinds of cyanide in those bottles, so
Okay, all right. So we don't want to test that.
my father has diabetes, and so this piece was interesting to me to see what people used to have to go through just to get this test and how far medical advancement has come. But I don't collect medical items, so I thought someone who has a medical background would probably appreciate it more than me.
This is really neat. They basically knew about diabetes for hundreds of years. You know, they eventually figured out it was your pancreas, but there wasn't a practical blood test, really. I mean, if you look at everything going on here just to test your blood, you can't do that 5 or 10 times a day.
No, this was a lot of work.
You know, eventually it got simpler and simpler. There's no cure for it, but they're making life with diabetics a little bit easier.
Right.
175 milligrams per 100 cc's.
Those are actually test tubes with colors in it that indicated what your blood sugar level was. A pipette.
Okay, where the fuck is the hole?
A pipette. I'm not 100%
No
sure
hole?
how they
Perfect.
used it.
Usually put your stuff right in there. No, I'm kidding. You want to sell it?
I do want to sell it.
Okay, how much do you want for it?
Well, I'd like to get $450 for it.
Okay. In the world of medical collectibles, this is not old. You know, the newer you get, the less rare they are, and as far as the collectors go, they're not as desirable. So, I give you like $75. Generally, I sell this stuff to doctors. Okay?
Right.
And they want a great story how this was insane medicine. This was actually good medicine, just a little bit complicated.
Understandable. You would be willing to go any higher, like 250?
Nope.
No?
I'll go $90.
Yeah, it means more to me than $90.
Okay. Well, thanks for bringing it in. I appreciate it.
No, thanks for saying it.
All right, no problem.
How you doing?
Good.
What do you have here?
It's an aquatic etching by Moreau, John Moreau.
Okay, it looks really cool.
Definitely.
I really like Moreau. He's one of my favorite artists. It's simple, and yet your subconscious still thinks, what could this be? You know, this could be a kite, this could be a road, this could be anything, you know, like it really gets you thinking, what could this be?
$10,000.